Story 1. Just because I am quiet does not mean I am shy. Sometimes I am just mentally rating everyone's vibe like it is the Olympics. Story 2. That I am always trying to prove something. No, sometimes I just say things because they are true. Not everything is a performance. Some of us just operate with clarity. Story 3. I am a teenage mother. I work as a babysitter and drop off the children at camp. The mothers, fathers, and some of the camp counselors mistakenly think I am their mother and give me nasty looks and mean comments. Story 4. Quietness does not mean shyness. I only want to talk whenever I feel like it, especially at work. Those people do not understand what an introvert means. We enjoy being quiet because it is peaceful for us, and I do not want to get caught slacking if I talk excessively. People just need to acknowledge this and understand. It is obviously not complicated. Story 5. I am not an unpleasant person. I treat others the way they treat me. If you think I am a certain way, it is a reflection of how you have treated me. Nothing less, nothing more. Story 6. That I have all of my life organized and figured out. Like many others, I put on a mask every day, pretend everything is fine, and quietly lead a life of despair. Story 7. Since I am tall and black with tattoos, people think I am a thug, when actually I am finishing my Doctor of Psychology degree and own my own mental health practice. Story 8. I'm a man with gynecomastia. A few times when I was a teenager, women would walk up to me and say, "You're too young to be a mom," while shaking their heads. My spine is curved oddly, which makes my stomach protrude more at the front. Story 9. I am a white man and worked as a mental health clinician for a city. While on the job, I was often approached with racist or sometimes sexist jokes. These came from people of all races, likely to gain my favor as someone they may have assumed to be biased. This did not make me more willing to help or build a relationship. However, the look on someone's face when their racist joke fails to land is priceless. Story 10. That I am quiet does not mean that I do not have opinions or that I am stupid. I am deaf, so I am not always certain what was said, and I do not want to do the hard work of lip reading during conversations on subjects that I do not agree with. Story 11. Just because I am deaf does not mean I am limited. The only thing I cannot do is hear. In every other way, I am just as capable as anyone else. Story 12. That I vote liberal. Why do people always assume transgender public servants vote liberal? Have they never heard of the New Democratic Party? Story 13. My ethnicity. Let me explain. My mother was Caucasian, and my father was African American. To me, that's a new, unnamed ethnicity. Not mixed, because black and white mixed is not the same as Mexican and Japanese mixed, and people lump everyone into one category to avoid discussing this subject. Not cafe au lait, because that's food, and mulatto sounds a lot like colored, but related to Caucasian people. Now that I can step off my soapbox, people love to assume I'm anything but what I am. I've been called Hispanic, Arabian, Polynesian, Pacific Islander, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, Middle Eastern, Italian, twice before I was 5 years old, Brazilian, of terrorist descent, Inuit, and South American. Some Caucasian people call me black, and some African American people call me white. Police also assume I'm just black and pull me over all the time. Or maybe they assume brown, but either way, the police target me. I used to work at a university, and their campus police stopped me 12 times in 5 months. Of those 12 times, 3 officers stopped me twice each. Caucasian people like to play a game I call Guess the Ethnicity. They will randomly start guessing what I am. I could be paying for snacks at a gas station and they ask, "And where are you from?" Or compliment me and say, "I just love your hair, where are you from?" To be fair, many Hispanic people start talking to me in Spanish before I look confused. I only took Spanish 1 in high school, and I say, "Lo siento, hablo poquito español." Can't I just be a person? Why do I have to be a black person or a white person? Honestly, I'd even take fat person over ethnic person. I feel this way purely because I'm tired of being reduced to an ethnic question mark, not because I dislike a specific ethnicity. Story 14. Because I still live at home with my mom, I don't pay for everything. I pay my half of the rent, I pay for my car, we split groceries, and I buy things we need for the house. Living in an apartment on my own wasn't doable with what I was earning. Financially, I'm getting into a better position, and after this final expensive dental procedure, I plan on saving to buy some furniture and moving out. Just because I live with my mom doesn't mean I don't contribute. I am a grown adult and I pay my part. I'm grateful for my mom supporting me and not throwing me out before I was ready. She has even said I could stay forever if I wanted. As much as I would love that, I need my own space. I'm now in a financial and mental position to be fully on my own, and there's nothing wrong with taking more time to get there. Story 15. Just because I am incredibly handsome and intelligent does not mean I cannot be humble too. I am probably the most humble person you would ever know. Story 16. That I am incapable of doing or understanding anything just because I am mentally ill. I do not even know how they found out about it in the first place. Story 17. That I am a people person and want to make friends. No, I can be social and talk to anybody, but I dislike people. They drain me and I cherish my alone time. I am proud to be a loner. It may be a Gemini thing. Story 18. How are you today? I'm fine. But you have a rare disease. Yes, I know, but I'm fine. They know, but ask you how you are every single time. They know it's incurable and it's there. Why keep asking? Just say hi and move along. Story 19. There is nothing wrong with me. Just because I have a speech disability does not mean there is something wrong with me. On more than one occasion, someone who did not understand speech disfluency or speech disorders assumed I might be under the influence. I have been under the influence before, and I clearly know the difference. I wish people would stop assuming there is something wrong with me just because I am not as fluent in my speech. Story 20. People assume that because I like to go solo camping, I must be an expert outdoorsman. I know enough to be comfortable, but mostly I just like to sit by a fire and relax in peace. Story 21. That is because I have a speech impediment and I am autistic. There are other reasons for a speech impediment. For me, I was deaf for the first 3 years of my life. I am not autistic. Story 22. That my kindness is seen as weakness. People perceive me as easy to manipulate because I want to help. The truth is I am usually keenly aware when I am being used, but I am waiting for the person using me to admit it and take responsibility for it. I do not care about money or items the same way other people do, so losing a bit of money is not the end of the world to me. I usually get what I want out of the situation, and normally it is mental stimulation. I think assuming everyone operates on the same base level is where people make mistakes. My needs and wants are usually very different. Story 23. I am not exaggerating my illness. I would give a fortune to feel the energy I used to have, and I am doing everything I can to build up my strength. My body simply will not let me, no matter how hard I push. Story 24. I support Make America Great Again and Donald Trump. I wish I had $1 for every Trump supporter who unleashed their hatred of people of color, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, immigrants, science, and others on me. I would never insult someone I barely know or just met by assuming I knew what they believed. What is it about them that makes them think everyone is ultra-conservative? I have definitely embarrassed a few of them by politely disagreeing. Story 25. Because I work in technology, I am an Apple fan. I like anime, The Lord of the Rings, superhero movies, I love cell phones, and I binge-watch streaming shows. Story 26. My kindness is not a weakness. Just because I am always willing to help without putting much thought into it does not mean you are using me. It means I know what my purpose on earth is. Story 27. I want and need their help enough to walk away if I have to. Like I am not a grown man and I cannot see that they want someone to leverage later on. Story 28. I am not a conservative Republican. For reference, I am 6 feet tall, 175 pounds, with blue eyes, blonde hair, clean-shaven, and wear glasses. I dress casually most of the time, wearing track pants, t-shirts, and sneakers. I do not know if or why any of that would lead people to make assumptions about my politics, but here we are. Conservatives often assume I am one of them, and some of the things they have said to me, a total stranger, are kind of shocking. When Barack Obama was in office, I would regularly hear people using racial slurs as if it were perfectly normal. One man talked about how we needed to get rid of all the gay people and so on. Truly hateful stuff. It is interesting to see the looks on their faces when they realize their mistake. Story 29. I am old, and I look my age due to years spent in the sun. However, that was because I did ranch work. I still ride and exercise. People assume I am unfit, but nothing could be further from the truth. Story 30. That I am a womanizer. I asked a few of my coworkers and friends with benefits if I look like a womanizer by how I talk or dress, and they said yes. Story 31. That because I am being quiet, something is wrong with me. I am observing, listening carefully, and processing. Sometimes I am also quiet because the people in my family are gossiping about each other, and I do not want any part of it. Sometimes I am quiet because my social energy has run out, and I need to recoup my energy. Story 32. I am well not just because I do not look sickly. Inside, I am more than 30 years older than my actual age. Story 33. That I am an angry person because I like metal music. No, I just like surrounding myself with the acoustic version of a weighted blanket. Story 34. I'm not being deliberately difficult, making fun of anyone, or being combative. I genuinely do not understand the situation, directions, or process. I was either never taught or never encountered this situation, and I am asking questions so I can navigate it as best I can. I do not know if it is neurodivergence, an abusive or neglectful childhood, or just a lifetime of privilege and obliviousness, but I genuinely never experienced this situation and need actual help. I am struggling by asking questions and seeking help in the best way I can. Story 35. I wish people would stop assuming that just because I am visually impaired, I cannot do things on my own. Another thing is that my eyes drift, and everybody always assumes that I am rolling my eyes at them, but I cannot control my eyes. Story 36. Just because I look like a mean person, I am one. Many of my coworkers and friends confessed they were scared to talk to me because I have a resting facial expression and am rather sharp with my words sometimes. I guess wearing mainly black and dyeing my hair darker did not help either. Turns out I am a sweetheart when you know me well. Story 37. No, I am not in the military and I never was. Without fail, new people I meet always ask if I am in the service. I do not know why. I do not walk like a toy soldier. I do not say things like affirmative or negative. I do not stand at attention, and I certainly do not talk about the military. Story 38. That I'm foreign just because my full name does not have any native name in it and because I do not have the typical look. In my own country, if I had a dime every time people assumed that I am mixed or just foreign, I would be very rich. Story 39. People always assume that I am bisexual or secretly gay because I do not present myself as what a straight woman is supposed to be. I get this a lot from lesbians and men who are intimidated by me. I guarantee that the more you make me seem gay, the more I will play into it and break your heart because, low-key, I am difficult. I am just comfortable with my sexuality and do not need someone to try to bring it out of me. I have been sexually assaulted by a few women who thought they were helping me come out of the closet. And it is annoying. I went through my curiosity phase when I was about 8 or 9, so I know what I like. Do people really not understand how sexual orientation works and that it is not something you can change at will if you are heterosexual? You are born the way you are. Story 40. That I am quiet or shy. When I am quiet, it is because I am observing and assessing everyone. That I will not defend myself because I avoid arguments and fighting as much as possible. Naturally, because of that, people think they can do or say anything and I will let them step all over me. In reality, I know how to defend myself very well. That they can feed me lies because I am naive and will believe anything. Not true. As I said, I am very good at reading people and know immediately when someone is lying to me. I just choose my battles. Story 41. I hope no one looks at me and thinks I am perfect in a way that makes them feel inadequate. I have suffered a lot in this life regardless of the privilege I might have. No one is perfect. Story 42. That I am angry or mean or glaring at you. I just have a resting serious face. And I promise you I did not even notice you were in the room. Story 43. My race asks, where are you really from? They are highly disappointed to learn that I was born in Florida. Story 44. I do not leave the house. I never said I am a homebody, but people just look at my face and think I stay at home on the weekends. Story 45. I am cold and do not allow anyone to get closer to me. I do not share much because I need to feel secure around people to be a warm, trusting person. Story 46. That I am being fake. But I am actually truly just kind and mean the nice things I say. I am obsessed with everything you have to say. Story 47. I wish my family would stop assuming that I have never had a girlfriend just because I have never brought one home for them to meet. It is so annoying. Story 48. Being over 6 feet tall and 245 pounds, many people, mostly women, think I am mean and scary. I am married with kids, so I am not missing out. I just wish I did not give these random women a sense of dread whenever I walk by. Story 49. I love to make the plans. Sometimes a mother wants to sit back, especially on vacation, and go with the flow. Story 50. Just because I am smiling, really outgoing, and always laughing around others, does not mean I am not battling my own inner demons. I just do not see the point in showing and sharing my depression with everyone, and I genuinely am able to have fun and feel better around others. Story 51. People often assume that I am a teenage mother even though I am 30 years old. When they see me and my son in public, they assume I am a teenage mother. But when we are out with my mother, they mistakenly assume that she is his mother. If we are out with his father, they assume his father is also my father. They can tell he is our son's father, but they act shocked when they realize I am the mother. Story 52. I know that I have a resting, angry bouncer after a long night face, and that because I work out consistently, one of the few things keeping me sane for the sake of health, I come across as intimidating. In reality, I am a nerdy and deeply caring person who is mostly quiet because I am naturally socially awkward. Story 53. Just because I talk and am social at work, it does not mean I want to spend time with superficial and unpleasant people when I am not being paid to. Story 54. My parents are divorced and I live with my mother. The problem is they obviously do not like each other. My mother assumes that I am the cute and perfect child at my father's house but not at hers. This annoys me. She does not even know how it is. Why is she assuming that? Story 55. Just because I look heavy or plus size, it does not mean I eat a lot or eat a lot of fast food. I go to the gym every day. I am in a proper calorie deficit. I have a bone structure like that. Most people in my family look like that. Also, I am intimidating just because I do not smile. I do not want to smile all the time, and my face is naturally like that. People have told me that I have a mean face, even when I am in the club. Sometimes that is why people do not approach me. Story 56. Ethnicity. Age. 2 of my biggest complaints. Stop trying to analyze me like a science project from across the room. It is really annoying and disrespectful. I am in my mid-30s but look younger. This can also be an issue. I just mind my own business. Story 57. I am a young, single mother. Having an Asian baby face is generally not too bad. But when people assume you got pregnant in high school, it is no longer so cool. Story 58. Just because I have incredible self-awareness does not mean I am helpful with my future choices and actions. Talking to you, therapists. Story 59. That I must be mean, involved in something suspicious or unintelligent. I am just a larger man with a big beard. My wife says I have an intimidating aura, and combined with the way I naturally walk, I intimidate people. I work nights, so I am always coming home late in the early morning. Take my appearance and being gone all night, add my neighbor's perception, and you get the second reason. For the third, I work at a place that hires many unqualified people. So many that the reputation is that only unqualified people and drug addicts work there. I am a machinist. Story 60. I am Middle Eastern. I get that constantly. My last name is Garcia, and my parents were both born in Mexico. My sister gets that she is Native American. Having a beard does not help, but I did it to hide being bald. Story 61. I have tremors. People either assume I am really nervous or on drugs. I do not appreciate people bringing it up because sometimes I am not aware of them until they mention it, and it makes the shaking much worse. Story 62. I have a large penis. I mean, I do, but I would rather they be pleasantly surprised instead of assuming it is large. Story 63. I like being alone and prefer not to socialize. I have selective mutism. If there is one thing I am absolutely tired of, it is being left alone. I do not approach people because I am afraid they will think I am weird and avoid me. Because of that assumption, I am isolated whether I try to talk to people or not. Story 64. My life is easy because I work from home and make my own schedule, allowing me to give my full attention when I am at home. No one notices that this is why I put her to sleep and then work and study. I have to take care of the house, think every day about what to make for lunch and dinner, prepare the meals, work in installments, and still manage everything alone. If I hired a nanny and worked outside the home, only staying with her on the weekends, people would say that I did not care about her. Story 65. That I am showing off and people automatically assume I have an OnlyFans. It is quite depressing because I am genuinely being myself. Story 66. I am really nice and attractive, and people often tell me they assumed I was not intelligent until they got to know me. Unbelievable. Story 67. That I am lazy or undisciplined just because I am overweight. I understand. If you prioritize it, anyone can overcome being overweight. I have done it many times. However, it is not sustainable for most people over a lifetime. If you are prone to obesity, you have to approach any intake of food like a recovering alcoholic. Never put anything into your mouth without knowing the calorie and macronutrient count and adding those numbers to your mental tally for the day. Every single time. Just one cookie that brings you joy no longer does because you have to do those mental calculations and know you will pay for that later. You also have to exercise more than you would like. The more you exercise, the lower your metabolism, and the longer it takes to burn those calories. Look at studies of rural farmers who work hard every day. They burn roughly the same calories as I do in a day. Their bodies adjust to it. Even though they move a lot more, we burn about the same number of calories daily. Exercise helps for a while, but eventually becomes less effective. It does not burn calories the same way for everyone. The recovering alcoholic mentality you must have at every meal, all day, even though food at home, in your car, and at convenience stores is constantly calling to you, means you never stop. Most of us cannot sustain that forever. It is emotionally and mentally exhausting, and it removes much of the joy from life. The fact that I know people who are extremely sedentary, sitting around all day eating fast food for lunch and snacks of whole sleeves of chocolate chip cookies, yet are very thin, really frustrates me. So, I am overweight, probably close to 80 pounds overweight. I am trying every single day. I am not lazy. I eat almost exclusively healthy foods that I prepare at home, avoiding anything ultra-processed at all costs. I exercise on my treadmill despite the heat and on my rowing machine to build core strength. I walk my dog and stand to present my classes since I work from home. I am doing most of the things I know will slowly make a difference over an excruciatingly long time. I am in my mid-50s and pretty healthy, with no medications except some mild blood pressure issues. I have done so much that takes 90% of the joy out of my life. But because I am overweight, people assume I sit around all day and stuff my face with fast food. We really need to stop thinking about weight as a moral failing. For too long, this mindset has affected all of us. It is demoralizing. People who are overweight have been passed over, not hired, not brought back for second interviews, and not taken seriously. Story 68. My financial status. From the outside, I looked like a rich kid. 2 employed parents, huge house, trips to Europe. My mom is a business owner. The 2008 financial crisis hit us hard. To this day, my mom doesn't take a paycheck, and the majority of my dad's paycheck goes to keeping my mom's business afloat. What they didn't see was that the house was bought in good times, and those times ended in 2008. The house was in disrepair except for the side that faces the street and faced foreclosure. One summer, we had no air conditioning on the main floor despite temperatures above 110 degrees. That fancy indoor hot tub was never filled. The 8-person sauna hasn't worked in 15 years. All those bathrooms? Only half are functional. Those European vacations? A few were taken before 2008 when I was little. The only one taken after was because I received a fully funded scholarship that paid for my ticket. My dad had a conference paid for by his employer, so that was his ticket and hotel. My mom and siblings drove 8 hours because there was a deal for $200 transatlantic tickets. Once there, groceries were the same price, and we relied heavily on free attractions. I traveled extensively in college. Never once supported by my parents. I found scholarships and deals and traveled inexpensively. But from the outside, I looked like I had endless money. My school supplies were donated. We got free lunches at school. Clothes were all secondhand. But my parents were embarrassed by our financial situation, so they kept up the facade. I still have people assuming I grew up rich or that my family is rich now. It was all an act, but my parents were good at it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.